Hey everyone, and welcome back to my countdown to Halloween. Today is day 7, and I decided today I'm actually going to celebrate one of my favorite horror directors, and that is Wes Craven. Now, he's obviously most famous for creating Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. And let's face it, if you're going to be remembered for something, that's actually pretty amazing. But of course, he had a career creating all kinds of different kinds of films, ranging from ones that were very intense to other ones that were a little bit more, not dark comedies, but a little bit more satirical in their horror. But obviously his early ones especially were very dark and gritty. I mean, obviously his first film, going back to Last House on the Left, and then The Hills Have Eyes. And then he started to get more into a little bit more of the supernatural elements with Deadly Blessing. And even took a stab at comic book films, doing Swamp Thing. But obviously it was Nightmare on Elm Street that really sort of launched everything that we know of him today. You know, when you create a character like Freddy Krueger, who becomes such an icon in the horror genre, or basically a pulp culture icon, really. I mean, that just changes everything. But it's, you know, sometimes it's easy to forget, too, when you go back and watch that first film, just how really dark it is. And of course, he also created what I think is also one of his more underrated films, which is New Nightmare. And then there were other films, obviously, that had a little bit more of a dark humor edge to them, ones like Shocker and The People Under the Stairs. And then obviously he went back a little bit to his roots, so almost combining sort of both of those elements, both with the satirical and sort of the darker edge with the Scream and the Scream series, but especially that first film. Now, my favorite Wes Craven film probably would be actually the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but outside of that, I would actually almost go with Serpent in the Rainbow, because I actually really think that's actually a pretty amazing film. I mean, it sort of has a lot of those elements that I think really were his strengths as far as creating a very specific kind of atmosphere, the way he was able to mix reality and dreams and sort of the crossover there, but also just sort of this like real life nightmare kind of situation. And again, it had a good mix between sort of reality horror and sort of dreamlike horror. But honestly, it's hard not to love actually almost all the films that he made, because he had a very unique vision that he brought to every single one of his films. Even a couple of his lesser ones, you know, there was still something very special about them. And not to drive the point home, but let's face it, the guy created Freddy Krueger, for crying out loud. So it's like, you know, what else is going to make you really stand out in the horror genre? And obviously someone worth celebrating during the month of October especially. So just wanted to celebrate the late great Wes Craven today. Be back here tomorrow for the next one in my countdown to Halloween. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.